In this video, we'll demonstrate Page Generator Pro's related links functionality. You can think of this as a way to output internal links on your website to your generated pages. And this is really useful both for SEO and for your visitors to be able to navigate around your content and between different pages that you've generated. We'll start with a simple example where we have a single service keyword comprising of some interior design services that the business offers. And we have a content group that uses this service keyword with the title interior design services and some content below here. We'll start by generating the pages, and we have our 4 pages here. So we have hotel, interior design services, restaurant interior design services, retail and office as well. What I'd like to do is add some links below the content to the other generated pages from this content group. To do that, we'll return to the content group, and below our content, we'll add the related links block here. On the right hand side, we have some configuration options. If you don't see these, for example, your screen looks like this with no sidebar, make sure that you click the settings icon here. If you also see a sidebar similar to this that shows the content group settings, make sure that you click on the block tab here and that you're configuring the related links. The 2 things that we must do is specify the group from which we want to display the links and the post type. So with the group, we can start typing the title of the group. So we'll click that, and this number here corresponds with the content group we're editing, so we have the correct number. The second item that we must configure is the post type. So this refers to the post type of your generated pages, in this case from this content group. If you don't know what that setting is, you can go ahead and look in the content group itself and make a note of the post type setting here. On screen, we can see that the preview of the related links shows us what will happen because we have these pages generated. It's been able to find the 4 generated pages and display them here. However, we do need to regenerate our pages for this block to be applied to all of the pages that we want. So we'll save the content group, we'll click on the tab and navigate down to generate via browser, and we'll click on OK, and we can see our 4 pages are updated. And if we click on the hotel generated page, we have the title content and then our related links below to the other 3 service pages. You won't see the hotel interior design services link here because the related links functionality will always ensure that there is not a circular link back to the page that we're viewing. So if we click Office Interior Design, we see this time we have the 3 other generated pages, but we don't see the link for Office Interior Design Services because we're viewing that page now. There may be times where you wish to change the title of the related links and some other formatting. In this example, I'd like these to be in perhaps 2 or 3 columns, and I find that the Interior Design Services is a little bit repetitive in the links and it's not really necessary. To configure this, we can go and edit our content group, and if we click the related links block, you can minimize the search parameters tab here, and under output we have a number of options that help us format the style and the text that is displayed here. In this example, I'd like to have 3 columns, and we can see that the update has given us 3 columns. And I'd like to change the title. I find this too wordy. The default is to display the generated page's title. However, in this case, I just want to use the service keyword, which has the single word hotel, office, restaurant, or retail. To do this, I'll replace title with custom underscore field underscore, followed by the keyword name itself. And we can see on screen that we now just have hotel, office, restaurant, and retail. To explain how this works, when we reference custom field, we're telling related links to go and look at the custom fields on the generated page, and within that to return the custom field called service. These fields exist because when we configured our content group, the default behavior is to store the keywords. And what this means is that all of our generated pages will have all of its keyword terms stored in those generated pages. To show you what I mean by that, on our Hotel Interior Design Services pages, Page Generator Pro added a custom field with the keyword name service and its value of hotel. And if I go to another group, for example, office, we can see again that the custom field service has its value of office. So when we specify in our link title custom underscore field underscore followed by the custom field name, we are telling the software, go into this section here, find a custom field with the name called service, and if it exists, return and output its value, whether that be office, hotel, restaurant, etc. We'll demonstrate how that works by clicking Save, clicking the Content Group tab, click Generate via Browser, and let's observe the results. And this time we have our 3 links without the interior design services text, which just says office, retail, restaurant. Another option available is the output type. So we may prefer a bulleted list of links. We can number the links if we wish. We can also use the comma separated option, and this provides a nice readable set of links. We also have the option to output the links to our generated pages outside of Page Generator Pro's content groups. In this example, I have a home page that welcomes us to DesignCo, and perhaps here I'd like to link to those generated pages so that the visitor can start their user journey. I'll add these links after the content, and once again, we'll see that the related links dynamic element is available to us within pages, as well as posts and any other custom post types that your site may have. And we can configure this in the same way that we would within a content group. So I'll start by typing the group name, select the group name, ensure my post type is pages, and in the same way as before, I can tweak the formatting. Perhaps I want to have 3 columns here, and I'd also like to use the service keyword instead of the full title. We'll go ahead and click Save, and when we view the page, we can then see that our 4 links to the generated content have been output, and this is within a standard WordPress page. This isn't within content groups. Perhaps in this example, I'd like to change the layout, because this time you'll notice that we have all 4 of our generated pages, and that's because the page that we're viewing isn't one of those generated pages, so the software rightly wants to provide all of the links. So I can go ahead and perhaps I'll drop the number of columns to 2, so we have a nice layout here. Go ahead and view my page there. We can also improve the design of the related links. For example, I might wish to include an image with each of these related links. In this example, I've got images for each of my services for hotel, retail, restaurant and office. And in the content group, we'll configure this to have a featured image from the media library. And we can configure the media library to grab the images based on the title matching the service. We do have separate tutorials that cover how to use this, but we'll quickly go ahead and generate our pages here. And we can now see that for each of our services, we have a featured image at the top that the theme outputs for us. To reference this image in our related links, we'll go and edit our home page, and we'll click the related links block, close the search parameters option here, and then once again open the output section. And we have an option here to show the featured image. By default, this is set as no. And then we have a number of other options, and these are the registered WordPress image sizes that your site has. Most will have the large, medium, large and thumbnail options. Your site may have other settings as well, and this depends on the theme and other plugins that you're using. So we'll go ahead and select medium, and we can see on screen what's happened now as we have the title followed by the featured image. So if we save that and if we go and view our home page, we now have not only is the title displayed and linked, we also have the same here. So we can click on the image, that takes us to hotel. We can click on office to go through to the office generated page and so on. We also have the ability to change the display order. So the default setting is the title followed by the featured image. But if I want, I can switch this around. I can start with the featured image. So I'll start typing, select featured image, and then I'll go ahead and select link title. And this reverses the order by having the image first, followed by the title. We also have a display alignment option. So with the display order, this determines how the items are output. So by default, this is vertical, and what this tells the software to do is to output the items vertically. So the featured image should fill the width here, followed by the link below it. But you can also set this to horizontal, and what this will do is then put the image first, because we've got the display order of image here as the first item, followed by the link title. Again, if I remove these and we reverse the order by selecting title and then featured image, we can see how it would look there. Moving on to the ordering options, we're able to order our links as well, and the default behavior is by name in ascending order. There may be use cases where you'd like to do this with a different order. For example, it may be when the pages were published. It may also be random. And you can also change the order itself. So by default it's ascending, but you can change this to be descending. So in this example, retail's the first one, followed by restaurant, office and hotel. If you're using the classic editor, the related links dynamic element is also available. On screen we have our content group in the classic editor, and in our toolbar we have a number of dynamic elements. And if we hover over this one, we can see this is the related links dynamic element. If we click this, we then get the familiar search parameters. So in this example, if I wanted to output a simple list of generated pages for the group I'm in, I can click the groups field here, select the applicable content group, and again make sure I have the post type set to match the post type I'm generating. The other options covering output earlier in this video are available on the output tab as well. We also support the related links dynamic element in the supported page builders listed on our website. There are typically two ways to add the related links dynamic element. The first would be to add a widget or module. In this case, we're adding a widget, and we can see here that we have the Page Generator Pro related links, which we can click on, and we can see it's added here, and you then are given the options to define your search parameters and output options and other features in the same way you would in the block editor or the classic editor. In some page builders, Page Generator Pro may not have its own native module or widget for related links. In this example, we're looking at Beaver Builder. In this scenario, you can typically select a text editor or text module widget that comes with the classic editor. Within this, Page Generator Pro will register all of its dynamic elements. And in this example, we can go ahead and click the related links item. We can select the applicable options that we want and insert this, and we'll see a shortcode that's rendered on screen. If we go ahead and save our changes and publish the results, we can then click Edit Content Group, and we'll see in this example that Beaver Builder is managing the content for us. And we can go ahead and generate our pages. We can then review them, and we can see the related links dynamic element has output the generated page links below the content. We're now going to move on to a more advanced example where we incorporate services and locations. And this is quite a common method that many people use when generating location-based sites. For our configuration, we have our existing service keyword with our 4 interior design services, and we have a location keyword covering a number of cities and locations within the state of Tennessee in the USA. We also have a content group configured, again very basic, with the service and the location keywords, some content below it here. Beginning with our basic example, we can go ahead and add the related links dynamic element here. And with our earlier examples where we worked with a single content group and single keyword, we can go ahead and start typing to select our group, select the post type that we're generating. We'll also go ahead and set the number of columns to 2 to make this a little bit more readable. And let's go ahead and generate our pages. After a few moments, we can see that our pages have been generated. So let's go ahead and look at one of these. So in this example, we are looking at the retail interior design service in the location of White House. And below this, we can see that we have every other generated page listed. However, for most service and location-based sites, this isn't really useful or user-friendly to the site visitor. Perhaps I'm looking for a specific service, but I've landed on a page that isn't quite my location, so I'd like these links to instead be to all of the pages that match that service, but have the different locations. If we navigate back to our content group, and we select our related links element, and we scroll down to the custom fields section here, we can use the custom fields to constrain or limit the related links, i.e. the generated pages that are output based on the custom fields that those generated pages have. Now, if you remember earlier on in this tutorial, we walked through how the custom fields are stored in our generated pages. And as a quick refresher that we remember, if we look at one of our pages here, we can see that our keywords are stored as custom fields, both for the location, its latitude and longitude, name, and the service as well. So going back to our content group, if I'd like these links to be for the same service but for all of the different locations, I can go ahead and click the Add button here. I can define the meta key as service. Comparison is we're looking at to equal or match, and the value will be the service keyword here. And what this is telling the software is that when you produce the list of related links for those generated pages, those links should only be displayed if they match the service that we're looking at on a given page. We'll regenerate our pages to demonstrate how this works. In this example, we're looking at the hotel interior design service, and we are in the location of Arlington. And we can see now the links below this comprise solely of the other location pages that are in the same service. However, this again may be too broad. You may be listing locations that are nowhere near to your site visitor. We can take this one step further and we can constrain these by radius. To do this, we'll edit our content group, and instead of constraining by a custom field, we'll delete that option there. We have a geolocation here, and this tells us that if the latitude and longitude is defined, this will serve as a center point. And what this tells the software is to only display generated pages that are within the given radius of the latitude and longitude of the location that we're looking at. So we can go ahead and define the latitude as our location keywords city latitude, and for longitude we can select the city longitude, and we'll set the radius to 5 miles. The other thing that we must do is in our content group itself, we need to scroll down to the geolocation data section, and we need to also ensure that every generated page has a latitude and longitude specified. This is important because otherwise the constraints on latitude and longitude in your related links won't work. So again, we can go ahead and start typing and select our city latitude column from the location keyword, and the same for the longitude. We'll go ahead and click save, and it's always important that you need to regenerate your pages to see the changes take effect, so we'll go ahead and do that now. This time let's go and look at the office interior design in Bellevue, and this time we can see we have only 3 related links, and this is because the software has determined that the only locations within that 5-mile radius happen to be Bellevue, so there are no other locations nearby, and we've therefore got the 3 other service pages for that location. If we look at another area, let's look at Brentwood, we can see here that within a 5-mile radius of Brentwood we also have Johnson City, and therefore we've got 2 locations that meet the criteria, and we're able to list all of those services and locations that meet that constraint. We can combine both custom field and geolocation constraints. So building on this example further, we may only want to list the same service pages for locations within that radius. So once again, we can make use of custom fields. We can click add, and as we did before, we can define the meta key as service, comparison operator equals, and the value must match the service keyword. Once again, we'll generate our pages and observe the results. And after a few moments with our pages generated, let's go back and look at the office interior design in Brentwood page. And we can see now we only have one other page that is within that 5-mile radius, which also matches the service of office interior design. Another example of how we may constrain our related links is to display a list of links to other services that our business offers, but only in that same location. To do this, we can again edit the related links dynamic element. We could set the radius to a very small number, and that would ensure that it's likely we would only show the other services for that specific location. But a more reliable way of doing this would again be to make use of those custom fields. So in this example, we will remove the latitude and longitude and the radius, and we'll go down to custom fields, and instead of matching the service, we want to match the location. So in this example, we'll enter location, and you'll notice that I'm entering location underscore city underscore name. Now the reason for this is that the keyword itself has a column within it. We have other videos that cover how keyword columns work, but when this location city name keyword is stored in the generated page, what we'll see is that the meta key, which can be found here on the generated page, is location underscore city underscore name, and that's why we put that value here as the meta key. We ensure that our comparison operator is equals, and the value will be the location city name keyword, which we select there. We'll click save and generate our pages, And we can see in this example that we have the hotel interior design in Arlington, and below it we have the 3 other services offered in the same location. Another common structure employed in Page Generator Pro is the directory structure. And on screen we have an example where we have a top level service content group and a child or second level location content group. In this example we have 2 keywords, our service comprising of the 4 services that we offer, and we have a sample of 10 locations here with their respective latitudes and longitudes. We have a separate video that covers how to create directory structures, and we also have the Add New Directory Structure wizard here that allows you to very quickly prototype these particular directories depending on the combination of locations and services that you're looking for. For this video, we'll focus on how related links works when referencing parent or child content groups. On screen, I've gone ahead and generated both the location and service content groups, and we can see that we have our generated pages. And if we look at our WordPress pages section, we have our top level services, and within each of them we have the locations that are served. We have the same for office interior design, restaurant interior design, etc. And if I navigate to one of these, I can see hotel is my top level, and if I go to view one of the location pages, we can see that it is in that directory hierarchy as a child page of the hotel page. If we start with the top level service pages, I'd like to add some links below the content that reference the locations that our business serves for this particular service. To do that, I'll go and edit the content group. I'll add the related links dynamic element, and I will tell it this time to reference the location content group. In previous examples, we've always focused on displaying links relative to the group that we're working in, but you'll see that with Page Generator Pro's related links, you can reference any other group if necessary. Again, we'll select the post type as pages, as that's what we're generating, and we can see on screen here that we start to get some results, which is fantastic. However, we can see that we're getting 4 links for each location, and the reason for this is that for each of our 4 services we are generating locations, and therefore we're getting all of our services: office, retail, restaurant and hotel. In this example, I only want to show the location pages relative to the service that I'm on. And there are 2 ways of doing this. The first is, as we've done in the past, make use of the custom fields functionality, where we add a constraint by the meta key service, ensuring it matches the service keyword. And we'll go ahead and generate our pages. And we can see here that we have the list of locations, but noting that this time they are all relative to hotel interior design, as denoted by the slug here. If we go to Belmead, we can see it is still the child of this page here. You'll notice that when we entered the constraint here, that the block within the content group said that no related links exist. This may sometimes happen when previewing related links within a content group, because you may need to regenerate the pages to see the actual result on the pages themselves. The second way that we can constrain this, instead of using custom fields, is to make use of the parent property. So in the search parameters, we have a post parent, and we're told that if this is specified, we'll only see pages that are children of the given ID, slug or keyword. Given that we're telling the software we only want to display location pages from our location content group, and we know that those are a child of the service content group that we're editing now, we can go ahead and select the service keyword as the post parent here. And because this is a dynamic keyword, you won't see the update apply in this preview, so we'll need to go ahead and click the content group tab, regenerate our service pages, and then when we view the results, we can see once again that we are seeing a unique list of locations purely for the hotel service. When viewing one of our location pages, we can see again that we have some content, but it would be quite nice to have some related links below the content. In this example, we would want to reference other services offered in this location. In order to do that, we can go ahead and edit the location content group. We can add the related links dynamic element. We want to output services that are offered in the same location. So we'll be looking at the location content group with a post type of pages. And this time we need to make sure that we're only showing the location that we're looking at. To do this, we can make use of custom field constraints. we can click add. Our meta key will be the location city name, and we can ensure that it equals the location city name keyword. We'll go ahead and click save, and we'll generate our location content group. Once our location pages are generated, we can go ahead and view the first result. And we can see here that we have 3 related links, and when we click on them, we notice that the slug changes, so from hotel to restaurant, because that's one of the services we offer. We have retail there, and we have office as well. However, it's not really clear what these are, and the reason that we're seeing the location name and not the service is because we're looking at the location pages. As we learned from earlier in the video, we can customize the link titles. So we edit the related links dynamic element, and if we click on the output tab, we can go and edit this link title. And from earlier, we can make use of custom fields by entering custom underscore field underscore, and we want it to actually display the service for that page. And once again, we'll generate our pages. And we can see now that we have our 3 links for restaurant, retail, and office. And when we click on them, we can see that they go to the same location, but a different service. We also have the option to navigate up a level or back to the parent page. So again, with related links, we have the option to specify under the output tab the type of output we want. And here we have parent, next, and previous links. And when we select this, we have 3 options. We need to enter values here for these links to display. I only want to display a parent link, so I'll go ahead and enter title here. I'll also go and specify the content group, and in this example it will be the content group that we're currently in, and our post type is pages. We click save, and we can see there that it's updated to give us the service parent page. We'll go ahead and generate our location pages once more, and with our pages generated, we can go ahead and preview the first result. We have our existing related links here, and we have our new parent link here, and it's inherited the title of the parent page, which is Hotel Interior Design. And then we click on it, we can go and see that. If we go back into this location, we might want to go to the restaurant service in this location. And again, we can see, because we're under the restaurant service page, when we look at the link here, it's dynamically updated to go to the restaurant service top level page here. In the same way that we can customize link titles, we can customize parent link titles as well. In this example, instead of it reading the full interior design, we may want to say something like back to the custom field service name. The custom field will be dynamically replaced when we regenerate our pages. So let's go ahead and do that. If we view our generated page, we can see there that it now, instead of saying hotel interior design, it says back to hotel, and we can click that, and once again we're taken to the top level page. Hopefully this video has been a useful guide in understanding how you can reference related links on your generated pages as well as on non-generated pages in order to build a link structure to allow your visitors and search engines to successfully crawl your website's content.